What if I told you that every guitar lesson you've ever taken was teaching you to stay stuck? See, I've taught my fair share of students over the past decade, and I'll tell you the truth. The ones paying $275 for one singular lesson are the ones who are getting the result that you've been trying to get and have probably already spent well over $1,000 on it. Probably spent more of the money on gear, to be honest, which now you realize maybe it's time for a priority shift. But in all seriousness, if you are frustrated with your improvisation and overall fluency in the language of music, despite knowing a lot of technical stuff, scales, modes, theory, technique, you're about to understand why that frustration persists. Because in this video, we're gonna break down the mental trap that's keeping you stuck right now. I'll show you my exact breakthrough framework, and you'll understand why one singular lesson is all it takes to completely bust open the floodgates of your own creative mastery. This is about unlocking what you already know. Now, inevitably you're thinking,
$275 for one guitar lesson? This guy's a megalomaniac.
But I've discovered something extremely insightful and infinitely valuable after teaching thousands of guitar lessons and having a master's degree in jazz performance, and essentially condensing that master's degree in jazz performance into a single unified mentality of musical development. I've discovered that the guitarists who are stuck with all that technical knowledge but no way to apply it, you guys all have the same problem.
And it's not what you think.
And by the end of this video, you're gonna completely understand that problem so that you don't continue to make the same mistakes. But first, let me tell you something that no guitar teacher has ever told you or will ever tell you except for me right here, right now. And this is key because this is going to change the way that you're approaching your musical development right here. See, every time you go to a guitar lesson, the teacher of that lesson is giving you knowledge of specific techniques, theoretical concepts, like you're paying money and in exchange, you're getting like facts, basically. That's because that's what a guitar teacher thinks they're worth. They think that that's what matters. They think that's where the money is. But now here we are in 2025 and we realize, no, everyone knows all the facts, but most people still can't play worth a damn. So paying a guitar teacher to tell you facts is a terrible idea. So when people pay me $275 for one single guitar lesson, they're obviously not paying for more licks or more theory or more anything like that. They're paying to escape the knowledge prison. And what I mean by that is you probably know more theory than 90% of musicians, but you keep falling back into those same 3 half-baked licks from muscle memory, even though the amount of theory and technical knowledge that you have should imply that your musical vocabulary is vast. But right there reveals the biggest lie in traditional guitar education. And that lie is costing you years, potentially decades of progress. See, what most guitar teachers do, and I used to do this myself, is we'll just fill the student's head with information, right? Thinking that's where all of our value is, thinking that's what we can bring to the table. Oh, I just know a bunch of stuff. Here's those facts that I know, and now you're gonna pay me money for that, right? See, that's not the problem that you have. You have plenty of information. Like I said, all the information's already free. You already have all that, right? So now, when you go to a guitar lesson, you are not looking for technical knowledge. You are looking for a mentality. And I'm gonna prove it to you right now. Right now, when you go to improvise, what happens in your mind? You might think,
A minor. Okay, A minor pentatonic's gonna be good here.
but then you play the same boxed lick you've been playing probably for like 7.5 years. See, all you did was analyze, right? You wanted to be correct. You wanted to have the correct answer, right? You weren't trying to make music. And here's the cold truth. That's exactly what every guitar lesson reinforces, because this is where they believe the value is, right? They're reinforcing the idea of analyzation and correct answers, and that's causing you to feel completely disconnected from the actual music making. And now you see why that advanced intermediate plateau is so crushing for so many people. It's literally just the end of the road for 96.3% of people, because you keep looking to more knowledge and it's not the right direction. You keep running farther in the wrong direction. That's what most guitarists are doing. That's why my YouTube channel only gets like 500 views per video on a good day. Now think about the students paying paying $275 for one guitar lesson, who of course are flipping this entire process because what I'm actually teaching them is the flow state where technical knowledge becomes automatic and your creative mind completely takes over. And here's where it gets really interesting. Most people miss the 3 mental shifts that provide you access to the flow state. And just remember, the flow state is where all the magic happens, transcending everything you know about good and bad, right and wrong. All of that is understood in the flow state. The more time you spend in the flow state, the better. And I'm about to explain to you how to get there. 3 mental shifts. First mental shift, moving from the mindset of
what can I play
to what serves the music. See, when you're in analyzation mode, you're asking yourself, what's available? What's allowed? That's all scarcity mindset. You give yourself too many choices, you freeze up, and you play those same 3 half-baked licks from muscle memory. Again. But when you train your mind to think in terms of serving the music, you're no longer holding the weight of the universe on your shoulders. You're actually realizing that the music lives with or without you, and you can just grab a hold of it and ride it at any time. You are ultimately not the backstop of the music. And here's how you can understand exactly what I mean. Actually pick up your guitar and practice this. Take the chord progression from practice form 1. The music is happening with or without me. You can start thinking in terms of playing space to build trust into the flow of the music. First mental shift. Massive! Because now you're realizing you're just serving the flow of the music. You're there to ride it. Don't disrupt it. Don't do stupid, irresponsible things. And that's kind of why you need to learn all those modes in that theory that you already learned, right? Now it's about applying that to serve the music. First mental shift. This is exactly what made Trevor literally say this.
I went through so many like music books, theory, all kinds of stuff like that, and they all approach it from like a similar place that seems like unobtainable, but the way that you guys lay it out has been the opposite of that. It's like, okay, now I'm seeing like what's really going on here. It's just a different angle that's like so much more clear, at least to me, you know, so.
And remember, that's just the first mental shift. Second mental shift, more powerful because it's more specific. In order to serve the purpose of the music, we need to be very specific about what we're doing. We need to be very specific in the realm of rhythm, okay? That's extremely important. So the second mental shift is the rhythmic intention that underpins all fluency in the language of music. So here's an example of rhythmic intention. I'm going to play one single rhythm and commit to playing that single rhythm through this form. You see how different things are stacking right here, right? But we're gonna systematically cover this in the one-on-one lesson. First thing we're gonna do is actually say the rhythm. And this is all part of intention, right? Before I pick up the instrument, it's just like, there's my tempo. What could be my rhythm? Dooba-da-dooba-da-dan. Da-ba-da-da-ba-da-dun. 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 Right? There it is. Commit to it. This is intention. Second mental shift. Rhythmic intention. Right, now we go. 3. See what I did there? I'm changing the order of notes along the specified rudiment. It's all under rhythmic intention. See how rhythmic intention underpins everything? If I have a rhythmic intent, I can do infinite numbers of variations upon that single rhythmic intent. Second mental shift stuff. This is how you get to that flow. This is where you can play without stopping because you've made decisions that allow your analytical mind to be quiet, and that opens up your creative mind. So in that situation, my creative mind was actually opened up to the different note sequencings that were available to me along that rudiment. Let me show you an example of one of my students doing this. And here's my student Ashley doing the same thing, but on a completely different plane of existence. The point is, it only takes a couple of practice sessions for your brain to start rewiring when this is how you're approaching your practice. This is how you escape analyzing note choices and thinking in terms of right and wrong, good and bad. Calvin said it perfectly.
Wow, yeah, it's just crazy. I never like really thought of stuff this way. Like you really read about like, you know, you really crack some kind of code or something. Like, and you like word it in a way that's like very understandable. I'm like really surprised that I'm able to like grasp it.
But here's what really separates a $275 guitar lesson from any other guitar lesson that you'll ever take. It's the third mental shift, of course, and this is the one that takes you from sounding like you're running up and down scales playing exercises to actually making music that moves people. I'm talking about call and response mentality. I'm gonna keep using this example of practice form 1 here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna play logical call and response sequences using that rhythmic rudiment, but in different parts of the measure based on what makes logical sense in the moment under the guiding principle of call and response. I'm showing you where improvisation emerges. I'm showing you how you access the flow state, okay? And then find yourself in that place of magical creation where you comprehend exactly what is available to you that serves the music, and there's no wrong decisions in that. You see, these 3 mental shifts all work together to bring you into the flow state. Now it's about having musical conversations. And you see what I did there with the call and response. That was where those musical conversations emerge, even if it's just you by yourself. But then imagine the compounding factors when you're playing with other people. And you can handle all the things that they're gonna throw at you because you hear it in your same call and response third mental shift framework. And as a result, you're actually connecting telekinetically to the other musicians. I actually made an entire video about this. Probably worth checking out after this one. You see, this third mental shift really just boils down to the ability to develop a narrative that listeners and your bandmates can follow. Very similar to my own methodology. It's narrative driven, and that's what makes it easy to follow. In fact, Forrest Cody, one of my OG legendary premium students, literally said this about the methodology.
It was laid out so simply and logically with as few words as possible to explain what was necessary so that I was able to understand it very easily. It was very clearly reverse engineered. And so I found myself at the end of one part in the module being like, well, what about this? And then, it comes up in the next part because the questions that people are going to be asking themselves based on the information that you've already provided.
And now it's starting to become clear why all the traditional guitar education has completely failed you. It's because that traditional guitar education is focused on what scales, what licks, what technique. It's all based around technical knowledge and facts. But improvisation isn't about any of those things. It's all about unlocking the flow state so that you can silence your analytical mind and awaken your creative mind. And that's what my students are paying for when they pay me $275 for one guitar lesson. They're not buying more information. they're buying a complete mental rewiring. You see, I've worked with hundreds of different guitarists throughout my teaching career, and all of that teaching has led me to identify this exact sequence of mental shifts that transform technical players into creative musical masters. Now, the reason why most guitar teachers can't do that is because most guitar teachers are technical players, right? They themselves are focused on the technical, completely neglecting the mentality and the importance of the flow state. They can show you licks and facts all day long, but they cannot teach you how to think like a master. And that's the difference between a $50 guitar lesson and a $275 guitar lesson. After one lesson with me, this is what Cade literally said.
It's starting to click definitely in the brain, because it's definitely different than anything I've done, but that's really what you need to break through, like those plateaus of being stuck.
Now at this point, you're probably thinking,
This sounds great, but how do I know it's gonna work for me?
and that's of course a fair question, especially because you've probably been disappointed many times before. Now here's what I can tell you. If you've been playing guitar for at least 3 years, you know the major scale, you know the modes of the major scale, and you have the technical facility to play those modes, but it always ends up just sounding like exercises instead of music, then that means you're the perfect candidate for this singular breakthrough lesson, because technical knowledge is not the problem. And that's just the truth of guitar education in 2025. The technical knowledge is falling out of the sky, but you need a new mental approach to apply that technical knowledge into effortless musical expression. So all you gotta do is make those 3 mental shifts that I just showed you, and everything you already know will become accessible in the context of real-time improvisation, and as a byproduct, expanded time composition. Because of course those are the same things on different time frames. So here's what I want to do for you right now to make this as easy as possible. I have a free course. It is called the Intro to Fretboard Mastery. That free course is going to open up an entirely new universe of musical development, and it's gonna show you the potency of my methodology. That way, you can feel 1000% confident when you invest the $275 in the last lesson you'll ever need with me. Now, I know a lot of you have already taken the Intro to Fretboard Mastery course, and for you guys, it's time to take the last lesson you ever need. Now, here's a big kicker. I'm gonna throw in the Ultimate Jazz Blues Mastery course along with this one-time breakthrough session. So that's 4.5 hours of bonus course material that's going to guide you all the way to the climb the tippy top of Mount Everest once we make that initial breakthrough in the one-on-one session. Oh, and by the way, that one-on-one session is going to be recorded. So you're gonna have nearly 6 hours of handcrafted, customized content to your specific needs, all designed to get you to the top of Mount Everest as a guitarist, all for $275. So you'll find those links below. You'll see Intro to Fretboard Mastery free course. Below that, you're gonna see mentalitymusic.com/last lesson. And that link will take you to a whole page that explains in further depth everything that's included in this $275 last lesson offer, so that you can be 1000% confident that it's worth every penny and 10 times more than that. Because think about it, it's very likely the last money you'll ever spend on music education. And that's because we're going to identify your specific mental blocks and then install those 3 critical mental shifts into your awareness in the form of a personalized practice routine that will carry you all the way through the rest of your musical development. And now you see, my students don't pay for my time, they pay for a transformation. And here's the crazy thing. Some students love that singular lesson so much that they actually join my school so that they can come to my 3 group classes per week, literally because of how fun and cosmically enlightening it is. This is what John Michael said about my 3 classes per week.
I have loved these lessons so unbelievably much. I cannot possibly convey how much I've enjoyed these, how much it's actually opened up for me. And I'm not someone that does not study. I study all the time. And I'm always learning new things in every single class. you're never ever doing a class where you only tread over things that I already know really well. It's never happened. So
Yeah, same.
2,000% worth my time, man.
It definitely helps to be a part of a community that's holding you accountable to your development, but really it just all starts with that single breakthrough lesson, because after that, you finally understand what's at stake in music. You actually understand the path of development. Once that path of development is completely clear in your mind, you may want some accountability to stay along that path. And that's when you might consider joining my music school. But like I said, you get the 4.5 hours of bonus course material in addition to that one breakthrough session, so that's going to take you extremely far, but accountability is huge. And that's why people pay me $444 a month to be inside my music school, having access to 3 classes per week and my entire course library, which includes the roadmap to mastery. But you're gonna cross that bridge when you come to it. We're just gonna start with this breakthrough session, the 4.5 hours of bonus course material that's gonna guide you all the way to the summit of guitar mastery, mentalitymusic.com/last lesson. Now, if you're still watching this point in the video, obviously it resonated with you, and I'm going to tell you to subscribe, because the videos I'm about to drop over the next 2 to 3 months are about to be ballistically enlightening. And you'll get the most value out of all of those free videos that I drop here on my YouTube channel by completing that one-on-one breakthrough session with me. Get clear on what's at stake in musical development. Understand the path ahead. Be 100,000% confident in the direction that you're moving with regards to your musical development. Now, let me know in the comments, what is your biggest frustration with improvisation and overall musical fluency right now? Tell me in the comments. I'm gonna read every single comment, and there's a high chance that I'll probably address your comment in future videos or even the very next video that I make, because I love doing that. Super fun. So thanks for watching, and obviously I'm gonna see you on that one-on-one breakthrough session at this point, because I can't imagine that you could possibly turn away now that I've shown you exactly how to unlock the kingdom of guitar mastery. And one last thing. So I actually announced the last lesson offer in the previous video I made, which only got like 220 views. And I've already booked out my calendar for the next 3 days teaching those one-on-one lessons. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be raising the price on this one because the demand is there. Clearly people were waiting for this offer, so I'm really glad I made it. But all that to say, just lock it in before the price goes up, and you'll be glad you did.